FBI is a menace to our freedoms. Time and time again has been shown to be the case. There's a lot going on, and I appreciate Trump really just, I can't keep up with it. Can you keep up with it? All the good things he's doing? I can't. I mean, I go on his White House website and pull up all these executive orders. It's just great order after great order. Now, not all of it can be fully implemented without more help from Congress, but he can do a lot. You know, for every step forward Biden took, or backwards Biden took, depending on your point of view. I don't know which is the easier way to describe the metaphor. Trump can take an equal step to cancel it. That's how I would read it. So let's see what happens. And the only way he can get a lot of that work done is by having good people around him. And he got two new good people around him this week, where the Senate finally confirmed Pam Bondi as Attorney General of the United States. So she now is at the Justice Department running the show. One of her first acts as Justice Department Attorney General was to organize working groups, or that's what she called them, of personnel to investigate the lawfare against Trump and the abuses of American citizens, either school boards going after Catholics, going after pro-life protesters, the January 6 abusers as well, and see what went on. Was there collusion with the Justice Department and under Biden and Alvin Bragg and Soros-backed prosecutor, by the way, and Fani Willis down in Georgia? So that's a good start. I would just open up criminal investigations into the violations, evidently, of people's civil rights under the color of law. But I guess, it's the Justice Department. They just go slow all the time. And as I've said previously, I think President Trump should just directly appoint special counsels, because the Justice Department can't investigate itself. The FBI can't investigate itself. I don't believe it they can. Let me be clear. I don't think they can be trusted to investigate themselves, especially the FBI. And the other person who was appointed and confirmed this week was Russ Vought, who is now the head of the Office of Management and Budget, which is the key bureaucratic agency within an administration in terms of setting policy, budgets, and policies and procedures for other federal agencies. So he's keeper of the keys in many ways to how policies are promulgated within the government and regulations are approved, etc. So I don't think there's a regulation that exists that doesn't have to go through an OMB process. Now, Trump obviously smart, but Elon Musk, he quickly figured out, and this is what drives the left crazy, well, how do we pay our bills in the government? Well, the Treasury Department pays the bills. Oh, so you mean we don't have to be at each specific agency trying to figure out what goes on? Well, that helps. But all the bills get routed, practically speaking, through the Treasury Department. And that's why the left was furious when Trump and his people showed up at the Treasury Department and asked questions about how the bills were paid. Because once they figure out the centralized billing, essentially, or accounts, what do they call it, accounts payable, where the money's going out? Accounts receivable, depending on what's happening. Who writes the checks? Who signs the checks? And Musk figured out, well, Treasury does. And if all these decisions, all this government spending is going through essentially one group of systems, well, let's get a hold as to how those systems operate. Let's look at the data. Let's analyze the data to curtail waste, fraud, and abuse. And so everything you're hearing about the left screaming about Musk, you had some people defaming Musk by saying he was stealing money by trying to figure out what Treasury was spending. I mean, lunacy. Just great developments for reform. And I know not all of it's going to stick, but we've made so much progress than we typically would have made in prior administrations. Just the debate has changed in a way that benefits the public good because we're now talking about the size of government, how much it's spending. And from Judicial Watch's perspective, we know that when government spends a lot of money, it's usually for corrupt purposes. They can't tie their shoes without some waste, fraud, or abuse happening. And usually, a lot of these programs, especially the big ones that have all the hullabaloo around them, are to take care of their friends. Zero to do with the public interest. Now, who hasn't been confirmed? Kash Patel. As I said, I went to his confirmation hearing last week. Democrats have delayed it, or the consideration of his confirmation before the Judiciary Committee. Normally they would have been voting on it around now. So there's a further delay. So there's been no FBI director for several weeks, which is dangerous, to be blunt. It's dangerous. Now, there's the left media is again crying, and the left Democrat politicians are crying because there's been accountability demanded from the FBI. You had the acting FBI director stalling and trying to curtail efforts to figure out who in the FBI was working on January 6 prosecutions. And the number that was bandied about was 5,000. I bet you it was more than 5,000, by the way. There are only 38,000 people who work in the FBI. 12,000 or so of them are FBI agents. They had 5,000 people working for 1 minute even on January 6th. If that doesn't indict the January 6th prosecutions, I don't know what does. And what Trump's people are trying to get a figure out is who was involved, what was the extent of their involvement, and were the abuses inherent in this process make them culpable for the decisions they made. And they don't want you to do that. And they don't want Kash Patel there to help do that. Now, Kash wants to reform the FBI. I don't think it's reformable. But I tell you, I want the list of those FBI agents. Why isn't that public? It ought to be. And we're asking for it under FOIA. So all these lists DOJ has been compiling of officials who may have engaged in improper conduct or conduct that deserves further scrutiny, we want that information as well, and we hope the Trump administration makes it publicly available. But we, as you know, we may sue if we don't get the records. I mean, I want justice. I want justice. The FBI came to my house in a retaliatory move by the Biden administration to serve a subpoena. Imagine getting a knock on the door for something like that. I trust the FBI as far as I could throw them. I really do. And so Kash Patel is about as good a pick as a president could make for FBI director. And I stand strong behind Kash Patel. And I had this video, I did this video promoting his appointment after it was made, I guess a few months ago now.
President Trump made another inspired choice. He announced over the weekend that he is planning to appoint Kash Patel, my friend, to be the FBI director. Presumably he's going to fire Wray, or Wray's going to resign. The FBI is almost irredeemably compromised, and Kash Patel is nearly the perfect choice to go in there, bring transparency, reform, and accountability. Now, Kash is going to be attacked by the usual suspects, but he has a demonstrated record of uncovering, exposing, quite bravely, the corruption at the FBI and in the deep state, and he has vast experience working the bureaucracies on behalf of the American people. So what do you think Kash Patel should be investigating once he becomes FBI director? I've got a long list. But one of the things I think he certainly needs to investigate is FBI corruption and the targeting of Trump and other innocent Americans for political purposes by the corrupted Federal Bureau of Investigation.
Yeah, Kash can't be put in an FBI director soon enough. And, I know John Thune, who's the new majority leader for the Senate, the Republican leader, they'll tell you they're going as fast as they can. I will tell you, well, maybe they've gone faster than previous Republican Senates in terms of handling nominations, but they're not going as fast as they can. There are always ways to go faster in the Senate. There's really no good reason any of these folks couldn't have been confirmed by now. So I encourage you, especially for Kash Patel, to share your views with your senators as to how quickly his nomination should proceed, and to use all steps available to them under Senate rules to advance his nomination, because it's an emergency. The FBI is out of control. It's an emergency. We need someone there who's honest and willing to do the heavy lifting to clean it up. And Kash Patel fits the bill. You can share your views with your senators by calling 202-225-3121, 202-225-3121. And by the way, ask your senators, call your congressman, ask them, are they going to cut the FBI given the abuses that they engaged in? Is anyone talking about that? I doubt it, but ask them anyway. Because I said, I've observed before, and I will say it again, and I say I'm half joking, maybe I'm a quarter joking now. Kash Patel should be the last FBI director. I don't think the FBI is worth saving at this point. I know what they've done. I mean, look what they did to Trump. What they did to me, they came to my house. I guess it's not the end of the world, relatively speaking, compared to what they did to Trump. To the crazed targeting of the January 6ers, treating nonviolent offenders like they were terrorists, trying to spy on Catholics, wanting to send spies into the pews, targeting parents who were concerned about their children and going to speak out at board school. FBI is a menace to our freedoms. Time and time again has been shown to be the case. And that's why I think it really needs, in the least, a radical haircut in funding and in terms of its powers, duties, and responsibilities. And I don't even think that's enough, as I said. So forgive me for getting a little angry there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like our video down below.